America is a creepy place in Republican candidate Rick Santorum's new ad.
In a small American town 2 years from now, if Obama is re-elected.
With its darkly menacing horror movie vibe, Obamaville is currently the most watched online political video in the U.S.
And families are worried about their jobs and their future.
It depicts a bankrupt country with high fuel prices, shoddy medical care, and an apocalyptic danger on the horizon.
And every day, the residents of this town must come to grips with the harsh reality that a rogue nation and sworn American enemy has become a nuclear threat.
The politics of fear are alive and well in 2012.
Welcome to Obamaville.
It's part of a long tradition. There are few things scarier than hungry wolves, and in 2004, George Bush unleashed a pack of them on opponent John Kerry.
And weakness attracts those who are waiting to do America harm.
1, 2, 3.
The granddaddy of all fear-mongering ads is Lyndon Johnson's 1964 classic Daisy Girl spot. Playing on fears his opponent, Barry Goldwater, was unstable and would literally blow up the world.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
That scared the pants off voters and contributed to Johnson's landslide victory.
We must either love each other or we must die.
Republican pollster Bruce Merrill was an advisor to Goldwater.
I think along with the Willie Horton ad, it was one of the most effective ads in terms of moving an electorate that we've ever had in American politics.
One was Willie Horton, who murdered a boy in a robbery, stabbing him 19 times.
This ad, run by a group supporting the elder George Bush in 1988, connected opponent Michael Dukakis's lenient prison release policies to a black man on a deadly crime spree. Some believe that ad and another similar one produced directly by the Bush campaign pandered to racial fears. Bush trounced Dukakis in a landslide. Whether Santorum's scary video will be similarly effective is uncertain, but you can be sure the politics of fear will return as Election Day approaches. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Los Angeles.
For more, I'm joined from Los Angeles by Caroline Heldman, a professor of politics at Occidental College. So, Caroline, is this, in your opinion, about the politics of fear? Why do politicians do scary ads?
Well, I think that the short answer is that they work. And even though a vast majority of the American public says that they don't like negative ads, when you run negative ads, especially those during a presidential race that play upon common fears, they do tend to work. We saw even more recently in 2004, the Swift votes and the flip-flopping and the anti-terrorism ads against John Kerry, playing upon all of these fears that he was an incompetent leader. So I anticipate that we will see much more of this in the general election this year, especially since super PACs are investing so much money now in negative advertising.
But why do you think that they have been so stark, though, with the Republican contenders?
Well, I think that right now we're in a primary election, so it's kind of like the Wild West. And I think that that's a part of a primary election where there isn't an elector, so you don't have the pressure necessarily of something coming back on you. I also think that super PACs are playing a role here. They're actually spending more money on advertising, far more money than the candidates themselves, and it doesn't come back on them. And the candidate can very easily say, look, I didn't spend this money, and distance himself. So I think actually we'll see more negativity in general in this election and more ads overall simply because of the amount of outside money and the source of that.
Right, and what do you think that these types of ads say about the candidates who put their names to them? And what does it also tell you about how they feel about the people whose votes that they're trying to get? I mean, are they sort of talking down to them, treating them with contempt, assuming that they have very little intelligence and that all they're open to is just being sort of terrified the entire time?
Well, I think unfortunately a lot of voters are turned out because they're not interested in politics or apathetic about it. And so breaking through to them, I mean, fear does work. And I do think it's condescending to voters. However, when you have only about half of the electorate involved in elections, I think that voters, you know, maybe that's something, there's something to that. If they work, what does that say about voters, unfortunately?
And talk a little bit about how you think that racial profiling is playing into scary ads this time around.
Well, I don't think we've seen anything explicit yet with President Obama, although racial fear-mongering has been very successful in the past with the Willie Horton ads, as you noted earlier. I think there's underlying issues with President Obama, so we're not openly racist, but for example, the birther movement, I don't think would exist. This idea that he was born in another country, that whole movement wouldn't have gained ground if we were talking about a white president. So I think that any attacks that we will see will not be overtly racist, like the Willie Horton ad, but they might insinuate that he is other or that he isn't quite American, all of which have racial undertones.
Right. All right, Caroline Heldman, thanks so much for joining us from Los Angeles, California.
My pleasure. Thank you.